shows every Sunday.
Random Ramblings with Rob.
Here we go.
What up, everybody? This your boy B-Rob, and I'm back with another edition of the Random Ramblings with Rob podcast. First and foremost, I'd like to thank you, the listener, for coming back each and every week, or however you listen to podcasts. If you're a first-time listener, I'd like to thank you oh so much for giving my show a try. And if anybody recommended you to me, I would like for you to reach over and give that person a crisp high five. But if you're being socially cautious and everything, I know a lot of places around the United States and globally are laxing up on some of their COVID protocols and everything. But if you are still being cautious, you're still being wary, you're still kind of on edge about all this skin-to-skin contact, especially with strangers and people you don't know all too well, instead of giving them that crisp high five, pick up your social media app of choice and send that person a well-crafted DM telling them thank you for recommending you to me. Speaking of social media, you can find the Random Ramblings with Rob on various social media platforms to include Twitter at 3R Show, Instagram at The 3R Show, and other places. They're not coming to my mind clearly right now because it's so early in the morning, but for all those places that I did not mention, you can go to randomrob.com and you can find such things on randomrob.com, like the sponsor, Hooks, Rubs, and Spices. Go to hooksrub.com and you can get 15% off your order if you use promo code RANDOM. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. It is now, as I speak to you, as these words come from my mouth and they reverberate into the coils of this microphone and go through the cords and the mixer into the computer, into the Audacity recording software that I'm using right now in front of me. It is 2:16 a.m. Central Standard Time. The reason that I am recording this so early on a Monday morning is because I fucked up, y'all. It's nothing bad. I just had so many things to do. We woke up this morning and got brunch. Then we went grocery shopping, came back, cleaned up the house a little bit. I went through and figured out all manner of ways to hook up a record player that I just recently purchased because I am on a vinyl record journey for whatever reason. I think I told the story on this podcast maybe a couple solo episodes ago to where me and Mrs. B-Rob were in Walmart in Savannah, Georgia. We went on a little vacation and I was just astounded. I was mesmerized and amazed by all the album art cover on these vinyl records. I mean, it's no different from what you would see on a CD leaflet or even the digital art covers that you would see on your freaking MP3s, you know, Spotify, iTunes, and all that other crap. But just to see it big and blown up and everything like that, I had an idea in my head to where, maybe we can get something like this. But instead of just buying every freaking vinyl record that we see or whatever, we should just focus in on the albums that had impacts on our lives and our childhood. And she's like, you know what? That's a good idea. I didn't say all that stuff, what I just explained to you. That was just my thought process. But to her, I said, hey, you think this would be something nice to have in the house? And she's like, I can see that. So that's how that went. But in my mind, I was saying all these profound things and structuring all this. I was like, yeah. But I was like, hey, baby, think they look cool? Yeah, they're cool. So we got a record player. And then me, usually when I get a piece of tech or anything, I normally just do a whole bunch of research. But for me, I was like, you know what, this is something from a collector standpoint that we'll get those key albums that we want to get and we'll display them some kind of way. And we probably won't hardly play the record player. But I went on a musical journey. Yeah, I know I do RBR Weekly Wrestling Talk live every Wednesday, 9 p.m. Central Time-ish, after AEW Dynamite. It's the best rule of thumb. But Cody was talking about Kanye West. That's one of my co-hosts. And I just went on a musical journey. I went back, I listened to the trilogy of Kanye, the College Dropout, Late Registration, Graduation. Then I went through the trilogy of Kid Cudi, because that was an artist that I only knew through his top hits, his Billboard hits and everything, but I never really knew the depth of his library. So I went through and listened to the trilogy of Kid Cudi, Man on the Moon 1, 2, and 3. Then I went back and listened to the rest of his discography, which is some weird experimental stuff through there. Some are hits, some are misses. But I can firmly say that I'm a Kid Cudi fan now after going through that journey. But going through and trying to find and curate this vinyl collection, I started looking at some YouTube reviews. Because, like I said, this is a record player from Walmart. Costs like $50. So I started looking at reviews for the record player that we got from Walmart, and it was all bad. You know, it does harm to your vinyl records because you can't calibrate the arm and everything, the needle arm and all this other stuff, and ultimately bad reviews. If you want to have it as a novelty item or something that you may use every once in a while, not very often, then it's not for you. I mean, it is for you, if it's seldom. But if it's something like you want to listen to music maybe on the weekends or weekly or however you listen to your music, and you want to get that pure vinyl experience, the little suitcase joints that you get from Walmart, the Crosley Cruisers or whatever the hell, that ain't the joint for you. Or even the ones that come with the 6-in-1 features and everything, might have a CD player and a tape deck in it and stuff like that. Not ideal for more regular use, but as a novelty, something that you might use every now and then, pretty cool. So start digging and doing reviews and everything. So I went with the Audio Technica. I forget what the numbers, because they all come with all kinds of different numbers, and each model number is different, but I got a better deck. I had to get speakers with this one, which I ordered. I found a good pair, and I finally hooked it up today. So right now, the vinyl albums that we have on deck is Prince, Purple Rain, the Thriller album. We have Green Day's Greatest Hits. We have Linkin Park, Hybrid Theory, and we have Jay-Z's The Black Album. So these are the albums that we have added to the vinyl collection thus far. And I plan on adding the Kanye trilogy. As I spoke of before, I plan on adding the Kid Cudi trilogy. And what else did I have on my list? I had the Murder Was the Case soundtrack. Snoop Dogg made a movie a long time ago called Murder Was the Case, after the song. And there was a bomb-ass soundtrack, which featured Ice Cube and Dr. Dre's Natural Born Killers and a couple of other songs and everything. And that was a big part of my youth. So I sought it out, this record. I found it. It's on the list, and it's going to be one of the ones I get. Also, there was a greatest hits of Boyz II Men, which everything Boyz II Men is pretty much the greatest hit. But I figure instead of trying to get all these different albums, I just get the greatest hits, because there's not a lot of things on that greatest hits album that, it's not a banger. So it's the Boyz II Men Legacy album. Then what else do we have? Where's my hit list? I thought I wrote it down. But anyway, there's a couple other things on there. And I'm still thinking of things to add to the vinyl collection. If you have any recommendations, my ears are open. But it would kind of, doing it that way, that would kind of break the motif of what we're looking to do. And that's, impactful albums from our childhood and everything. Another album that I wanted to get or even if I couldn't get the whole album on vinyl, at least the single. And that's Carl Thomas's album, Emotional. That song features I Wish. I wish I never met her at all. Even though I love her so, and she got love for me. You know, that joint right there. You know, I ain't got the best vocal ability or whatnot, but I'll hum a tune here and there. But that song, that album just had a place for me because that was when I met my first wife. You know, she was my girlfriend then, would eventually become my baby mama. Then we would get married and then we would get divorced and all the shenanigans and drama and everything. But that song, I wish, was an anthem that I carried with me for a long time because for a good portion of it, I wish I never met that motherfucker. But then again, I wouldn't have my son. I wouldn't have my oldest daughter. And, you know, the world would be a different place. But that was my joint. I would jam that song. I would jam that album all the time. Another album that I'm just thinking about in that same vein was the Genuine, 100% Genuine album. Because that was the flip side of the thing. The emotional album was the bad times, and the Genuine album was the good times because they had So Anxious on there, and Those Jeans, I believe, and some other freaking nonsense that we got down to, which kind of led to the birth of my first child. So I got to get both of those on there. And it's not because, you know, I'm reminiscing about my ex-wife or nothing like that. It was just the emotion that those albums invoked that I'm trying to capture. And it was some bomb-ass albums. It was some good albums, those two were. So I got to try to get at least the I Wish single or the full-length LP of the emotional album, which is kind of scarce and hard to find from what I've looked at. And then I never thought about looking at the Genuine album until just now. So I got to find those two to add to the stack. And I feel like it's going to be fun. We played with the new deck today. We just got the new Audio-Technica vinyl player. We set it up today. We just got the speakers in early this morning. Well, yesterday morning, because it's Monday now. I'm talking about Sunday. And we played a whole bunch of things. We played the Black album today, sound tremendous. We played the Purple Rain album, sound tremendous. And I think that's all we did, because we wound up cooking and eating everything. And then we had to, well, not we, I had to prepare to watch AEW Revolution 2022. And it was a good show, top to bottom. Me, Cody, and Noah just finished. That's why I'm recording this at damn near 3 o'clock in the morning. We just recorded our reaction show. Wow, what did we just see? Following the pay-per-view and everything. And yeah, so watch a jam-packed bomb show, turn around, record a show about said show that we just watched. And then here I am recording the Random Ramblings with Rob, which I could have done earlier, or I could have done, you know, days in advance and everything. I didn't have any interviews scheduled this week because my schedule was all full of fuckery. So it is what it is. You know, I don't mind being here with you. Matter of fact, I love being here with you. Thank you for all the support and everything. And I'm going to just probably put a pin in it right here. But before I go, I must remind you, we are in the season of B-Rob. And that is March 29th is upon the horizon. Your boy will be turning 40 years old. 40. I will be at the top of the hill. I'll be at the apex, making that descent downward. This is the point in life where they say you're over the hill. Or would it be over the hill when I turn 41? Because, you know, 40, you're at the precipice. And then you start making your way down. So that would be another year on the down slope. So is 40 over the hill or is 41 over the hill? Is the question I pose to you. Anyway, speaking of posing questions, that's my next point. Ask Miss B-Rob. It is the 6th annual Ask Miss B-Rob edition of the Random Rambles with Rob. Every year on my birthday, March 29th, since this show has been running, Mrs. B-Rob has graced me with her presence, and she answers your questions. So any question that you can send into the show would be highly appreciated. And think of it as a birthday present to me. So Mrs. B Rob is here for my birthday, and you're here in spirit through your questions, being a part of the show. That's your birthday gift to me, submitting your questions to my wife. And the way that you can submit those questions, hell, DM me on Twitter at 3R Show or it's B Rob. You can send me DMs on Instagram at the 3R Show. You can send me email at random. There's no at in the beginning. What the fuck am I saying? You can send me emails to randomrobcast@outlook.com. That's random rob cast randomrobcast@outlook.com. Send me emails with your questions in them. And you can call and leave a voicemail at, damn, I haven't used the voicemail so long I don't forgot the number. It's 304-825-5762. That's 304-825-5762. Leave a voicemail so the lovely Mrs. B Rob can hear you enunciate your questions and everything like that. So I would once again highly appreciate you all participating. And that's all I really got for this edition of the Random Realms with Rob. I got some other guests lined up for this week. I hope you're ready for something. It be what it be, baby. I'm just been focusing more on RBR Weekly Wrestling Talk. It's the passion project right now. I'm not saying it as to where, I don't know what the fuck I'm saying, but we're here and we're good. I hit the horns, which you probably didn't hear because the thing's on mute. So fuck it. I'll see you next time.